Okay, let me check that box. Got it. So first of all, again, I definitely want to welcome all of you to our first event with Microsoft. Dean Jones, who also I've worked with for many years at Microsoft. I'm Rodney Woods at the PN community. So again, I want to welcome all of you to this first event. There will be many more to come for sure. So I've been working with my man, Dean Jones, for a long time. We've been working with small startup businesses. We had the startup incubator program with Microsoft. Dean, I've traveled with Dean all the way to Redmond to Microsoft to meet with executives and understand how we can help, growing concern companies as well as small to medium companies. Most companies sit in classes of 1, 2, 3, and 4. And for some of those who on this call, some of you guys in class 1 is 0 to $1 million, and class 2, $1 million to 10 million, class 3, 10 million to 50 million. And for you guys who are 50 million above, outstanding. Let's keep getting it, right? So this call here today is to really talk about and be very open about, how we work with companies like Microsoft. And that's why we wanted Dean to be on this call today to really kind of, explain and talk about, how to actually engage with Microsoft. Sorry about that. I need to turn this on silent. Sorry about that. But how to engage with Microsoft as well as any other tech, firms, because their technology is everything today, to a lot of our businesses, as well as, us talking about the access to capital, as well as the access to contracts. So the way we look at it sometimes is like every company that's in the market today that's trying to scale and grow is looking to gain access to capital. The reason we really created this whole platform of PN community is to educate people on how to gain access to capital. Number two, gaining access to contracts, i.e. working with companies like Dean Jones is why this is created as well, because it's two things. You need the capital to scale and grow your business, have money for two things, for you to purchase the people that you need. I need to have money for a strong guy like David up in DC, right, to be on my team. So for me, I got to have money for that, or I need money for equipment. The other thing is if you just say, hey, I'm good with money, I just really need to gain access to contracts, then that's a procurement side, and we help with that side of with the DIP. So PN community is just an educational platform. A lot has been birthed out of the people I've worked with over the years, including Dean, especially Dean Jones, and others we've worked with. We wanted to have something more simplistic to educate companies on really how to truly gain access to these major corporations and work with them and do well and not fail or not get in the system. And you're going to hear a lot of this from Dean too, to get in, and then you have all these challenges. So with further ado, I want to make sure I turn this over to my man, Dean Jones at Microsoft, who's chilling in his home in Texas.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you, Rodney, for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to come tonight and speak to you about the art of what I call the possible, right? How do you partner with the likes of the 800-pound gorilla, which is Microsoft? We're a global entity, and it only stands to reason the rationale for why we would want to partner with a company like Microsoft, but more importantly, work with companies such as PN to help bring economic equality and balance to what we bring to the table as well. So 6 years ago, about 6 years ago, I ran into Rodney through some research that I was doing, because one of the key problems that we were running into was exactly what Rodney spoke about earlier, funding, right? How do African American or Hispanic Americans or Indian Americans or Native Americans actually get funded or launch companies in this country? And not only in this country, but create a global entity where you could actually compete in what we call the larger market. So without further ado, LaRonda, go ahead and pull up the slides. Okay, perfect. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I want to keep this very informal. I want you guys to be able to ask me questions. So feel free to chime in at any point. I'm not able to see who has their hand up. LaRonda or Rodney, if on your side, if you can see if someone has a question, just stop me and I'll be happy to answer the question.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yep.
So here's a slide that I truly love, because people always think that as a startup or as a company, their whole sole purpose in life is to do business by themselves. That may seem admirable to someone who is not trying to make money, but if you're trying to make money in this $1 trillion marketplace that exists out here, partnering is the only way that you can do it. You know, I've been fortunate. I was talking earlier, just messing around with Rodney, but I've been blessed to have worked for Cisco Systems, IBM, and now I'm over here at Microsoft. But in addition to that, HP has been a partner of all three of those other companies. And I always share this information free of charge, of course, is the 4 largest channel partners in the world, or who have the best channel organizations, are the 4 companies I just ran off. And I'll run them off again: Microsoft, IBM, HP, and Cisco. And the rationale for that is these 4 companies have physical presence in every country in the world. They actually have offices in every country in the world. So it stands to reason, if you're trying to get or create a global footprint, it only makes sense that you partner with these 4 companies. Okay. Now, you can have relationships with other companies, but at least, bare minimum, these 4 companies should be on your website, and you should be partnering with them in a formal way. You should have signed up through their partner portals and become a partner of these 4 companies. And automatically, we talked about it earlier, how do you get worldwide scale if you only have, as a startup, 4 or 5 salespeople working for you? Unless those people have been working for 1 million years, there's no way that they are going to scale and provide the bandwidth for you to become a global company. Okay. The other thing that you're always looking for is the relationships. You as a startup, if you have a very unique product or a unique solution, you provide another touch point or another conversation or another narrative or story that enables one of the sales or account teams from these 4 companies to have with the client that you're looking to jointly sell into. So keep that in mind. Each one of these companies will bring you technical expertise that you can tap into. If you go into the Microsoft partner portal nowadays, and in some of the efforts that we have helped create, is we made it clickable, or a just really more customer-friendly site for people like yourselves, like startups, who are looking for technical expertise, not having to pay for them directly all the time. But if you're trying to build something on our platforms, we try to make them more accessible and provide you technical abilities, or provide you with resources to tap into. And as I stated before, the reasons why you want to partner with the likes of us is because we have one of the largest sales organizations in the world. We have 35,000 sales reps all over the world working for us, dedicated to the enterprise and to small and medium-sized businesses. And of course, like I said, the partner ecosystem. Not only do we bring the 3 other partners that I mentioned earlier, but you get to partner with the likes of Accenture, AT&T, and other companies that may enhance or enable you to create a better solution or a better end product to your customer. Next slide. So this is one of my favorite slides. most people don't understand truly what startups mean to the business world. So let me help create the narrative and the vision for you so that you understand what you bring to the table. So right now, everyone can see there's a lot of layoffs in the market. A lot of tech companies are drawing back from the market. So the market has become unstable. So how do you operate in an unstable market, right? How do you get buyers to commit to your product or to buying something from you? Understand everything from a startup perspective is high risk, right? Because unless you've had a former relationship with someone from that company from your past, say you work for IBM or you work for Accenture and you've had some past relationship, no one knows you. You're an unknown entity. And now you're coming in and you're asking someone to take a chance on buying your product. So let me help you understand what that looks like from a transaction perspective. Now, if someone asks Dean Jones, right, that, hey, I need to buy a Dynamics license. Now, from Microsoft Dynamics, you at least know that if anything goes wrong with the product, you have Microsoft. Other than Dean Jones to blame, you have Microsoft, a major player in this market, right? But when your product fails, people don't understand. People get fired because they've made bad decisions in corporate America. So imagine someone takes a risk on your product and your product fails to meet its expectations. So that's the risk that you're asking somebody to take when they are buying your product. So, I like to steer away from conversations when people are talking about Black and brown as racist or having, the buyer being racist, because the other component to color is, hey, you may just have a bad product. And a lot of people don't like to admit that they have made poor decisions on creating solutions because they haven't done advanced groundwork or knowledge gaining during the whole process of creating their product. The total addressable market, right, or TAM, when you see that on a slide, is very important, especially to someone who's going to invest in your company, right? So have you figured out, or have you done some really in-depth study, or have some AI that is going to help you create a stable market and have you de-risk the entire solution that you're trying to bring to the product, to the market, sorry. So poor business models. No one could have anticipated COVID, okay? So imagine for the last 2 years, we have been in a market that has thrown everybody for a tailspin. I mean, including corporate America. And well, just corporate anywhere, right?
Yep.
So imagine companies have had to pivot. So I'll just give you a simple example, enabling employees to work at home. That's not an easy chore, especially if you're a company that does not use the tools like Zoom, or Microsoft Teams or some other voice-enabled video product, right? That changed the whole dynamic of how people operate. That's the ability to pivot. And that is a skill that I recommend that if you're a CEO or anybody in the C-suite of one of these companies, that you gain quickly, because you never know when you're going to have to pivot. You never know when you're going to have to change your whole business model. I've had at least in the last 2 years, at least 50 companies had to pivot. And I've been coaching them on how to pivot, right? So that's one of the things that if you already have that skill set, great. But if you don't, you must figure out how to get that skill and how to make that skill invaluable to you, because it will be something that you're going to need to use over the course of the lifespan of your company. I'm gonna skip over to number 4, not enough funding, because not enough funding always leads me to my good friend Rodney, right? How do you get companies funded? How do you get them in front of the right funding vehicles? How do you get them in front of the right funding population? Because there's so much money out here, not just here in the United States, it's money all over the world. But how do you get people access to that money? Because I have used Rodney not only here in the United States, I have him talking to individuals in my home country in Bermuda, but I also have him talking to people in Europe. So I love to help companies expand wherever I'm able to. So we do a lot of business in Africa. I don't know if you've seen this. Microsoft has spent or invested $4 billion in Africa. We anticipate that Africa will be the fastest growing continent in the world. So we have invested $4 billion. Here in the United States, we have invested 500 million, almost another $500 million just recently on startups, because we understand where our growth is going to come from for cloud, right? And AI and all the other technologies that we're bringing to the market, and especially our new capabilities around the industrial metaverse. And I would love to have a conversation with anyone who is interested in exploring how to get there. Next slide. So when we look 6 years ago, when we looked at the market, we started looking at where Microsoft wanted to play and where we wanted to partner to benefit startups. So here in Dallas, we created an ecosystem. And that ecosystem, I'm going to explain it. So I'm going to go left, go down, and then go up to the right, and then go down again. So understanding on the left-hand side, we talk about partnerships, right? And we talk about how we can help companies and how we can help them in the industries that we play in. So the far left, some of you, if you're not from Dallas, you probably don't know who that is. Stadia Ventures is another VC company that we partner with. They are able to fund companies up to 250,000. Any company that is looking to get into global sports, I mean global sports, whether it's cricket, rugby, soccer, or what we call football, where I'm from. We just had the World Cup, so you can understand that language. And then here in the United States, baseball, basketball, and football, right? And NASCAR. So they are everywhere. If you are trying, if you're building a product or you have a solution and it's dedicated to the global sports world, that is a company that you want to explore getting a relationship with, and we can help you do that. So they're based here. They have offices here, but they're headquartered out of St. Louis. So that's one company that we partner with. RLC Diversity is a company that used to be based here in Frisco. They are based in Houston, Texas now. They help companies with the ability to get your certifications, whether they're for, oh, sorry, Antoine Barnes, what was the name of the sports company? It's called Stadia, Stadia Ventures. Okay, so RLC, as I was stating earlier, is a company that helps you get certified. So if you're a minority or woman-owned, they help you with the ability to become or get the certification so that you can start going after local, state, federal business. Ubisoft, Gearbox, and Entertainment support the gaming industry. As all of you probably know by now, Microsoft owns Xbox. And we have made significant investments. You saw one of the acquisitions that we did just last year of Activision. It's not formalized yet because we're still going through compliance with the federal governments all over the world. But that is one of the largest acquisitions that Microsoft has ever made through Activision. So Gearbox, Ubisoft are gaming partners of Microsoft. They actually build games for the Xbox and for Game Pass, which is Microsoft's cloud version of delivery. And the Entertainment Software Association is the regulatory or the rating system for gaming. So if you're trying to work with them, we know the CEO of that entity, he's African American. We're looking to get people into what we call the gaming metaverse. So if you're a gaming company or you build software for gaming or you build accessories for platforms for disabled people, we're willing to have conversations with you. Microsoft has funding for new narratives. We're trying to get more Black and brown people into gaming, meaning building games. We had one of our Microsoft companies just last year close a $10 million deal with the NFL. So her company is called Engage Media, and it is a female-owned African-American company, and she's putting an immersive experience inside the Hall of Fame, meaning when you walk in the Hall of Fame, you'll have Pam Oliver as your narrator of you or your escort walking you through the Black Hall of Fame, which is also included in the Hall of Fame with the Professional Hall of Fame. So giving you a guided tour of the Hall of Fame. So she's creating that experience with Microsoft. So there are opportunities for you around music, around design, and around coding. So if you're looking for opportunities, come talk to me. Just below that, we have what I call our relationships here in the city of Dallas, and then globally through some of the other relationships that we have with some of the government agencies, with NASA, USDA. We have projects that we're doing with them. NASA, of course, man's going back to the moon, and we're looking at Mars. So we're working with the HBCUs around creating new food and construction tools and food innovation tools, because a lot of that stuff is going to be built in space. It won't be built on the Earth. So we're teaching these schools and we're teaching companies how to use the materials that are based on Mars and based on the moon to build new infrastructure and new ecosystems for that industry. So if you're looking at becoming part of that, reach out to us. We'll walk you through how we can assist. Of course, I'm going to show you some of Dallas's infrastructure. Capital Factory is no longer a VC based here in the Dallas area because they pulled their Dallas location out of here, but they are in Texas. So we support the whole state of Texas supporting Capital Factory. So they are in Austin. I believe that's where their main headquarters is. And then they have offices in Houston and San Antonio as well. Now, we do partner with 2 universities here, SMU and UTD. They both have what they call capstone projects dedicated to design. We have a special relationship with SMU through one of our fraternity brothers who is a professor there at the university. He's responsible for the graduate design program. So imagine you're a small corporation and you're looking for resources to tap into. You can actually hire students from SMU to come work for your company. And for a small stipend or a way of funding back, providing funding or monies back to the school, you can hire these students to come work for you. And they are some very talented students, by the way. I've had a discussion with many of the companies that go down there and look for resources. And we always send resources from the Microsoft for Partners format. We always send resources down there, and we send them so that they can tap into the energy of SMU. UTD has the same thing, but the one thing you're going to love about UTD is they have embraced the metaverse, right? So they have a virtual campus where they support the metaverse. So they have research, they do a lot of stuff around healthcare and surgery around vertical applications. So thus the relationship there. We also partner with the Black law schools. So Southern University has a patent clinic. So the chancellor of Southern has offered to assist us with helping startups like yourselves get and tap into low-cost resources for legal assistance. So whether it's patents or incorporation, Southern will try to match you up with lawyers or somebody in the legal community to help you grow whatever you're trying to do.
Hey, Dean, one quick note, make sure, I know you mentioned HBCUs, but it's really in depth for those who don't know that we're reaching throughout all 106 HBCUs, you know, for all students from an educational standpoint as well, right? Because
Yes.
These are truly the untapped entrepreneurs that, you know, trying to get, you know, that don't want to work for mom and dad and don't want to go to corporate America. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So up to the top right is now we're talking about funding, right? So most people don't realize that Microsoft has its own fund, its own VC. It's called M12. So M12, they generally look at companies that once you reach the threshold of 3 million in sales, in yearly sales, then you have the opportunity, if you're looking for Series B funding and above, to tap into the energy of M12. And then, of course, our guests and our good friends here on the call today are Playbook Investors. They actually help companies get funded as well. So that's one of our partners. And then we always are looking for new VCs or private equity, or even some of the banks now. We've been working with Wells Fargo, and through Rodney. Rodney has brought other relationships through Chase and some other banks to our funding source. So what we try to do is just put resources that you as entrepreneurs can tap into to get funded. And then the bottom part, last but not least, these are all the different resources that if you are a Microsoft partner, that you can tap into. So Microsoft owns LinkedIn. I don't know if most of you knew or understand that. That's a 680 million network of individuals globally based that you can tap into. So LinkedIn is part of the resources that you get when you become a member. You can already be a member of LinkedIn, but this is part of the membership that you get when you tap into becoming a Microsoft startup. And of course, we own GitHub, which if you're a developer and you're looking for open source, that is the largest open source repository in the world. Okay, so we own GitHub. So you get, I believe, 10 GitHub licenses for your company. The other energy that you can tap into are some of our platform like Dynamics and the Power Platform and Microsoft Research. So we do a lot of research on sustainable energy, healthcare, and if you're a partner of Microsoft, you will have the ability to tap into those resources. Okay, next slide.
Do we have any questions thus far? Anybody have any questions? I didn't see any hands or anything, so. Anybody, any questions? I also want to welcome Mikhail and a few others who came on. So Dean, you and Mikhail will meet here sometime soon for sure.
Sure.
And Carl, I see Carl here. So Carl, welcome. But it's a lot of us will meet, personally and network and figure out how we, change the game.
Sure.
Go ahead, Dean. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's not a problem. So this slide represents one of my favorite visions for startups, is because we meet you wherever you are. So it doesn't matter if you're an early stage startup, a middle stage, late stage, or exit stage. We are looking to help you and meet you wherever you are. And we try to provide solutions, whether they're cloud-based or software-based or funding-based. We try to meet you wherever you are. So it just gives you an idea that Microsoft is a breath of fresh air to a startup or an existing company. Next slide. So the qualifications for our startup program, you definitely have to be making less than 25 million in annual revenue, and you have to have been in business for at least less than 7 years. So that's how we qualify a startup. So you don't have to be like, I started yesterday to be a startup. As long as you've been in business 7 years, we consider you a startup.
There was a question that was asked that seems to be geared towards startups, Dean. So
go ahead. Let them come off mute and ask.
Go ahead, Chanel.
Hi, Dean. I have I guess what you would consider established business. I've been in business for 21 years, and we've actually done sales tax consulting projects for Microsoft in various foreign countries, such as Colombia, Kenya, Nigeria. We've done it as a tier 2, helping you guys code your ERP systems and make some corrections in the sales tax area.
Okay.
My question is, to partner with Microsoft as a prime, what are the channels for that? Because it seems like this is geared more towards less than 7 years or new companies. And
right.
For more mature companies, are there any opportunities through you or through your resources that you're talking about?
Right. Let me share my screen. So, LaRonda, I'm going to go ahead and take control of the screen, okay? Is that okay? Okay.
No, you're mute.
Go right ahead.
So you pivoted me right to where I needed to go. So the first thing you're going to want to do, especially for someone like yourself, right, who's already an existing company, how do you do business with Microsoft? The first thing you're going to want to do is become a Microsoft partner. Okay. The second thing you're going to want to do is what Rodney did, and the good thing about Rodney being on this call, he can attest to it, is that you're going to want to become a supplier to Microsoft.
Yep.
Okay.
So I've actually helped his company become a supplier to Microsoft, and he won a small contract over here to help grow our Black partner business portfolio when we first started out. So
all your Black-owned tech firms.
Yes. But it's not just tech firms that we want to partner with. You know, we want to partner with companies that can supply goods and services to us as well. Okay, so the more that they know about what you can and cannot do for us, the better you're going to be. Now, remember, all these tech companies, that's why I listed the 4 tech companies that I gave you, is because they all have federal contracts. I don't know if you've been watching the news lately, but we all just signed this major DoD contract and everybody got a piece of it. So I wouldn't just be reaching out to us, I would be reaching out to my competitors as well.
Gotcha.
You follow me? Because
Yes.
that's gonna help you grow your business.
So would you recommend, I've heard that getting on the GSA schedule was beneficial as opposed to
Yes. You wanna
strictly
be on,
focusing.
well, you wanna be on the GSA schedule, right? Because the DoD and the other government agencies need to know that you exist. Right? So that enables you to play in the game. And then you partner with the likes of the Microsofts and the IBMs and the HPs and the Ciscos and everybody else who has these major contracts so that you can get a piece, because every piece of a government contract has a set aside. And I'll give you an example, because and this is not as a joke, but I'm just going to give you an example. So I used to work for IBM, and we were bidding on a contract for Pepsi. Now, part of the contract was a set aside for a minority company. 5 of us bid on that contract. And guess who they end up bidding?
Who?
One company. All 5 companies bid the same partner. So if I was the partner, it was good for me because it was my deal to lose. But if I was somebody on the outside of that, you weren't in. You know what I mean? So you got to be in the game. I always tell people you got to be in the game to win.
Yep.
Or to even get cited, right? So you've got to be on these schedules, whether they're local, state, or federal. You've got to be on these schedules. And then start grooming your own relationships with these entities. So when opportunities come available, you can be the company that walks these big companies into the transaction.
That's the way to do it.
Exactly. And I've done that so many times working with some partners out of here that I've actually go on sales calls with these guys. So that's the benefit too, that you get additional resources, technical resources, sales resources to come in and help you sell. Because you, at the value that you bring to the likes of us, right, the bigger companies, is that you have these niche relationships that we don't have. And you provide narratives or conversations that enable us to go back in and sell more stuff to these big companies.
Yep.
Right? So that's the value that you should always try to create for yourself, right? In have the control or the lead on some of these conversations, but also be willing to partner and be willing and flexible enough to go in and have discussions around technology, be knowledgeable, and be supportive of transactions. That's what partners like to do. Okay, so you have that. Let me bring this down, sorry. Hold on. Yeah. So then you need to become part of the Black Growth Initiative that we have over here, Chanel. So imagine we're looking for existing partners like yourself who can help grow Microsoft's footprint in some of these larger companies. So of course, Microsoft's here to help. So we have this whole initiative around the Black Partner Growth Initiative. The young man that I need you guys to know, his name is Ramel Mitchell. He's a director of this particular partner growth initiative, and he's based here in Dallas, Texas.
Yep.
So I need you to know him, Chanel.
So Dean, a little bit to add value to this is what it's all about when it comes to education and relationships, you know, and this is why, you know, people like you guys on the call today, I know it's late, but this is why you're on the call, because these relationships are key. And there are other key people on the call as well, which you guys will hear them, you know, sometimes in the next couple of weeks. But it's key to relationships and being able to speak to, you know, someone like Dean Jones to give you this inside knowledge of what we need to do and how we need to, you know, scale, how we need to grow. So that's what this is all about.
No, this is really helpful. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So imagine, and this is something that I hope you really grasp. As I was stating before, Microsoft has 35,000 sales reps all over the world, right? Account teams. And these account teams are dedicated to all the major corporations and the small and medium-sized businesses all over the world. So if you're looking to sell into that space, Microsoft has a program to enable you to sell with and through Microsoft. So you can sell your product to Microsoft, and Microsoft will help you.
Hey, Dean, for the sake of time,
Oh, go ahead.
for the sake of time though, do we have any other questions on the call?
I've got one. I was actually typing it, but
Okay.
Oh, go
Okay.
ahead.
my fingers tired anyway. No, I'm just, I'm a licensed drone pilot.
Okay,
Started.
I already love you, my friend.
Appreciate that. But I see opportunities, but you know, even though you have drones working out there and out there in the, you know, out here in the world,
Right.
still fairly new.
Not to us, not to us. So let me help you out here. We are looking for drone companies. I'm actually, I actually partnered one with Rodney several months ago out of England, right? So imagine, you know, this particular drone company is looking to get into logistics. Most of the drone companies are, but there are other fields where drones are used, right? Farming, right? That's construction, architecture, retail,
Filming.
filming, right? So I'm actually working on a metaverse project around filming. So the partner I'm working with has a drone business that he does aerial shots for movie studios, right? So there's real estate. I mean, the applications for drones are limitless as far as I'm concerned, because they're even using drones and making them small enough where they can go inside the human body, go inside your veins, right? So now you're getting into the nanotech of it, right?
Yeah,
So
you're exactly right. Yes.
yeah. So there's opportunity. So Microsoft has relationships with the drone manufacturers all over the world. One of the applications is mining, right? And undersea mining and exploration. So unmanned vehicles are all over the place. And Microsoft is one of the few companies.
Answered that question.
Microsoft is one of the few companies that actually has the capabilities to expand you globally.
Wow. Okay.
So be interested in talking to you, my friend.
All right. You're gonna have your info, correct?
Any other questions? Anybody else have any other questions?
He's gonna.
Quick question I'd like to ask. Are you guys going to provide a link? I put this in the chat to the Microsoft partner site. Or are we going through you, Rodney, for that? Or are we going directly to Microsoft?
Yeah, you guys have all that in the PN community as well. And any relationship we need to, you know, forward you guys to, that will happen as well. So
yeah, if you're looking at the Zoom window, here is the actual partner. It says partner.microsoft.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And the other one, you know, if you want to become a startup with Microsoft, it's startups.microsoft.com.
Can we get that information again for the PN community, making sure, because
yeah, I'll make sure LaRonda gets all these links, and then she can send it out to everybody, because she's going to have everybody's email address.
Okay, I'm gonna put mine in just in case you don't have it, because for some reason I don't know if you got it for sure.
Right.
Okay.
But make sure, you know, if you're a startup, right, or an existing partner, make sure your LinkedIn profile reflects that, right? Because at the end of the day, most people don't understand. That's how we vet you. That's how companies vet you. If they're looking for partners, that's how they go looking and validating, oh, okay, this person's legit. You gotta have some legitimacy to the way that you operate, right? And from a marketing perspective, If you're not following good marketing techniques or good social techniques, people are not going to buy your product. Remember, this is all about trust. And the more that they trust you as a business owner or a partner, the better off you're going to be.
And so, Anton, that's why this relationship that you guys are hearing about with, you know, not just Dean and Rodney, but Microsoft and Penn is so important because it is about the trust, it's about the relationships, all the things that we were trying to build. And we've been, you know, going through this for the last 6-7 years, just kind of building all these things out, and I work like hand in hand with Microsoft. But these are the things that we have to do to change the game so that everybody understands how do you really, you know, have an opportunity with a big company like Microsoft and others.
So 2 of the secret weapons, I've already told you one, is the ability to co-sell with and through Microsoft. That's one of our secret weapons.
Yeah.
The other secret weapon is the ability, how should I say this? It's really the ability to work with us in a way that makes sense, right? Because everybody's like, well, Microsoft's going to sell for me. Yeah, well, they're going to sell to a certain extent. But if you provide no value, guess what? They're not going to promote you. And that's going to be a detriment to you. So what you want to do is become invaluable, right? If you can help them close transactions faster than they close transactions, that makes you invaluable. And remember, Black and brown people, you have this whole billion-dollar market that's out here called local, state, and federal government that just goes by the wayside every year. They can't find enough of you guys out here to close these transactions.
Yep.
Worldwide Technologies is one of the largest Black companies, not by default. Those guys, they show up, they close deals. But to get like a Worldwide, you've got to have that footprint, and you've got to have that industry knowledge. And then also you've got to have that trust factor, which I talked about earlier. You know, people trust them. They show up, they close transactions. If they say, I'm going to sell you 75 routers show up, ready to go. You know, that's the type of trust that you have to bring to the table for your product and your solution.
Again, I want to make sure that, you know, we get an opportunity for anybody to speak, ask questions or comments or anything like that, because we want to leave the rest, only a few minutes left. Anybody got any comments, concerns, or questions?
Hey, Rodney, this is David Albritton. Good evening,
Hey, Dave.
everybody. I look forward to meeting everyone. I'm based in the DC metro area, former military officer, former defense company guy for many years. We could have a number of kind of sidebar conversations for those that want to do business with the federal government. I could get some people who could really educate us about, you know, set aside contracts, 8A set asides, women-owned small business, service disabled, veteran-owned small business set asides, you know, all of these things. I have people that can help you get those certifications that we could talk to. But, you know, as Dean was saying, it is an untapped market. They give away billions and billions of dollars that just go untapped because they can't find enough Black-owned, brown-owned businesses to give those dollars to. And so we leave them on the table every year. It's a great opportunity. And I think through this network, we could try to tap into it greatly. And partnership is the way to go.
And another, I'm gonna piggyback over what you just said too, David, because another thing that we found out over the last 4 years is how to truly partner with the STTR programs with DoD. So NASA has a STTR program. So let me explain for those who are not familiar with this program. It's an opportunity to get IP or reuse IP from the federal government. So imagine the Air Force, the Army, the Marines, they have research and development teams that have built IP. And that IP has never seen the light of day outside of research. So imagine that you, by partnering with them, can get the IP for free and then make it into a product and bring that product to market. That is an invaluable tool. And we try so so hard to partner with the universities because the universities are needed for the research arm of the funding. So having these relationships with the HBCUs is invaluable, right? So that's, it all becomes one big circle. And there is, like David said, there's a ton of money out there that goes untapped every year. And that's why these budgets keep getting cut, because they can't get enough of us to come after this money. You know, sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. I'm just gonna be blunt. We can be our own worst enemy.
I was kind of waiting on that to happen.
Hey, no, that's all I know how to be, my brother. It's like, hey, we need to go get this money. This money is out there and we just need to go get it.
Yeah.
And it's through partnerships and relationships with the likes of Penn that we can make this possible.
Yeah, and does anybody else have any questions, any comments, concerns, anything? Anybody else have anything else?
You provide that link for the pen again? Like I said, that's been a minute.
LaRonda.
LaRonda, can you put Penn's link in there, URL in there, sir?
Sure can.
And I'll send you all the links to all the different things that from a Microsoft perspective that you should have as well, okay? And then you can share that with the group.
Yeah, hey, Carl.
Yes, sir. I didn't have a question. I really was just contemplating, what does practical partnership look like? You know what I mean? Obviously, we have the opportunity to partner with Microsoft, but listening to some of the other comments, I start thinking about even those within the Penn community partnering together to do various things. And I just wanted to see if somebody, or if he had some suggestions on what practical partnership look like.
Well, I always tell people, if you've got a product, you've got a market. Let me ask you a question, because this will probably be easy. What do you do, Carl?
Well, I'm the senior pastor at Christian Life Center here in Atlanta.
Okay.
I also have a construction company, so I build houses, and I'm a licensed real estate agent.
Okay. So let me tell you how we partner with churches. So just recently, we have a church, a pretty significantly large church here called Concord. And Concord had a program for STEM, right? They wanted to teach STEM to the church members, but not only the church members, but to students. So what we did, we took some of our STEM partners and partnered with the church. So the church got an opportunity to put and implement their program. And then we also helped a Microsoft partner who provided the curriculum to the church. So we do stuff like that. So that's what, to me, it don't get any better than that, because you know, sometimes it's knowing how to do stuff, which aligns resources together is 90% of the problem, right? And then if there's, you know, since you're a church, you're a nonprofit, then we can help tap into some of the nonprofit side of Microsoft as well, because I work on the for-profit side, but we do have a philanthropic side to Microsoft. Man, there's a whole organization dedicated to that. So you can pull up Microsoft philanthropy, and you can tap into the resources that are there, not only for funding, but for education purposes, right? Right now, we're trying to educate, you know, 25 million students. You know, I'm a firm believer in going to college. I'm a graduate of Grambling State University, okay? So I'm a firm believer in education. But I know from my own experience being in the tech world, having a college degree is table stakes. That doesn't set you apart. So the stuff that sets you apart are the professional licenses that you must have to do your job, right? So being Microsoft certified is a bonus, right? But a lot of these colleges, like the major colleges, are not teaching certification because they want your college tuition. But they're doing you a disservice by not allowing you or enabling you to be certified. Because for a software engineer, I'll give you an example. For a software engineer, we pay $200,000 for you to come work over here, but I can't put you in front of a customer yet. So now I got to spend another 6 months certifying you at my expense, which cost me another $200,000. So now I've invested $400,000 in somebody who can't do anything until they get that certification. So that's how you have to look at it, especially from like Black and brown people. To be competitive, you're not just competing with people here in the United States.
Right.
I saw this for myself. I used to work for
Yeah.
Infosys. So imagine if you go to India, which I spent 6 weeks in India on Infosys campus, on 2 campuses, one in Bangalore and one in Mysore. They had universities on those campuses teaching people every technology, not just Microsoft, SAP, Oracle, everything. So while we're over here going to college, these guys are actually getting certifications.
Wow.
Now, who are they going to hire? Somebody with a cert or somebody with a college degree?
Right.
You follow me? And
Yeah.
that's why we keep falling further behind in this whole equation. So those are the things that you can do for your community, right?
Mm.
That's just for church. We ain't even gotten into real estate yet.
Yeah,
We have
those-
so many applications for real estate that we can assist with.
Hey, this
You
is
and I
not
can
our
have a
only,
conversation.
this is not our only call now. Don't
And I
y'all.
know, but we can have a conversation offline, Carl. So
Yes, sir.
get Rodney and LaRonda to connect you with me, and we'll get this going.
Yeah. Hey, Carl
Yes,
comes
sir.
to Dallas Dean to visit. He's also a partner
Yeah.
with us. So and
Oh,
he's,
okay.
he's also a former NFL player. He's real nice guy.
Oh,
So, but no, I mean, listen, I'm just trying to make sure that everybody gets any questions, any comments they want to get out before, we end the call, because I appreciate everybody being on the call. I know it's, it's a night, it's a late night, but, I know people been working all day, so I don't want to, tie everybody up, but we do want all of you guys to continue to participate. We'll have more and more people on these type of calls. And I think we're going to start doing them weekly, but more important, I just want to make sure that if there's any questions, any comments, everybody got a chance to say what he or she wanted to say. I want to make sure I get that out.
I got one. It's cold up here, so Pastor Carl, if you need the drone services, let me know. I need an excuse to get ready.
Hey, Mr. Barnes, I just got to Chicago. It is cold, but I'm going to see Mr.
Well,
Quarles
this is
here.
a nice day. This is a
I
nice day.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Any other comments?
This is a
Question?
closing comment, man, about networking. For us as a people to move forward, we've got to stay in touch. Many times we get together and we have a great conversation, we smile, we'll have 1 or 2 conversations, and then we let it die, right?
Yep.
Let's not let that happen with us. We've got to bring more people into the fold. We've got to keep that conversation going. We have to be intentional about it. So let's start that tonight.
most definitely. And like I said, I'm always reachable by my email, and I'm going to share both my business email and the director of Microsoft, the Black Partner Initiative. I'm going to share his email. I actually, LaRonda, if you can give the deck to everyone on the call, in there, close to the end of the presentation, I put 4 of my team members, which includes me, in a slide. And on that slide, it has our email addresses. So if you need assistance, feel free. And I'm going to teach you a trick for corporate America. Don't just email the guy that you're trying to get a hold of. Copy me on the email so you have another pair of eyes. So when you complain that he didn't call you or
Yep.
didn't email you, you at least know that I'm on it and I'm backing you up.
Yeah.
So that's a corporate America trick. So write it down, people. Because we are not good. When you don't. Let me tell you something about bonuses and commissions and how stuff works, so you can understand how people's mentality works. If you are not on the forefront of them getting paid, they're not calling you back. Okay, you got to give them reasons to call you back. Okay, and if you ain't making money with them or bringing money to them, they ain't calling you because they got a quota over here. Everybody over here at Microsoft has a quota. Okay, that's the real sales mentality. So if your people don't have that mentality, you don't need to hire them. You need to fire them immediately and look for some new salespeople.
Okay. So we got, so thank you, Eugene, thank you, Tanya. Eric, thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for joining the call today. There will be many more. You guys will see David quite a bit. David's kind of like my boss too, him and Carl Miller both. They tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You know, I got LaRonda and Cy and all them. They boss me around too, but I'm gonna listen. But
Hey,
no,
Rod, can I just,
yeah.
before you roll, can I give him one more trick?
Sure.
Okay, so remember, everybody, if you have a stock ticker, that means you are a publicly traded company. And guess what? Publicly traded companies give you free information, some invaluable information. It's called an annual report. Okay, and in every annual report, there is a section called management and discussions. Write that down, because that's the most important thing that you will learn from me today. If you want to learn about how companies spend money and want to save money, you need to go to that section of the annual report.
Yep.
That is the most invaluable part, because if you're trying to do business with these guys, they have to give you that information. It's publicly traded information. They have to give that to you, right? And it's by law, they have to give it to you. So they're giving you this free information that most people don't even look at.
Yeah, that's true. It's so true, Dean. You know, we teach everybody that, and you and I have been talking about it a while. It's that investor relations page that we tell everybody to look at, right? But you know, it's kind of like what David, I echo what David's saying. It shouldn't stop here. We should continue to drive more and more people to get educated on how all this works. You know, we can change society, we can change our own communities, but we got to do it. It's going to take a team to make it happen. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining the call today. Dean, especially thank you, because I knew you were going to be straight to the point. I know we'll have more and more, you know, leaders and champions like yourself, Dean, coming up soon. But more importantly, just everybody continue to, you know, to strive and connect and relationships, build these relationships, especially with people like Dean Jones. And man, it's an honor to have you, you know, and it's an honor to be a part of your fabric as well, but also have you as a friend and a business champion. So thank you so much.
Oh, likewise, my brother. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to help you and help the people on this call.
Okay. I'm not gonna hold everybody. So I know we got Pastor Carl Miller on here. So Carl, quick prayer, take us on out, man, because everybody got to go.
Yes, sir. Father God, in Jesus' name, we do honor you and thank you for your grace and mercy. I pray and intercede for everyone on this call, for us collectively as a community, but even as individuals. I pray your blessing and your favor would go before us. Lead us and guide us. Give us insight and revelation, Father, knowledge even that goes beyond our education, beyond our experience, and beyond our training. I thank you that you cause everything we set our heart and hands to do to prosper. May we have more money in our hand this year than we've had at any one time in our lifetime. We'll be careful to give you glory and honor for it. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, everybody. Let's stay connected, okay? Have a good night.
All righty, take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Dean.